Hey, everybody, it is Brian Rundle with Black and White with Brian Rundle and Lana Quest. I was just talking to my friends here on TikTok Live. So, by the way, follow me on TikTok. I'd appreciate that. If you do follow me on TikTok, we can, I take guests up and we can talk and have discussions, which I've done many times with Trump supporters and people who also support normalcy and support the fact that they want our country to be normal again. I think it's going to be a very long time before we get there, but we certainly have a whole bunch to talk about. Obviously, you could see it's just me tonight. No Lana. She had some obligations with her daughter, and I think we would all agree that obligations with your daughter are going to be way more important than showing up on my and our stupid little show. But anybody that joins me tonight, we certainly appreciate it. Thank you for coming in. We have, like I said, we have a lot to talk about, as we always do. One thing that we're all trying to do is trying to get our country back to normal. But as I was saying a little bit earlier, it's going to be really difficult for us to do that at this point because of the administration that has been put into place. So many different things. Tonight, they were supposed to vote on the bill to pass the Republican budget for 2025. And in this budget, it includes raising the debt ceiling to $4.5 trillion. Now, keep in mind, again, this is from the same party that has preached over and over and over again about the debt and the deficit. Donald Trump is responsible for $8 trillion, about 25% of what our current debt is right now. Donald Trump is responsible for that from his first term. Now he wants to add a significant amount to that debt by jacking up the debt ceiling to $4.5 trillion. And what their plan is to cut $2 trillion from the government debt. And in order to do that, which they can't, there's no way they're going to be able to cut $2 trillion from the budget. But in order to do that, they're going to have to look at programs that benefit all Americans and or most Americans. And in those budget cuts, they are looking to cut Medicaid. They're looking to cut VA benefits. They're looking to cut Social Security. They're looking to cut agriculture money. There's so many different things that they are looking to cut. And the reason why they want to do this is because they want to cut down the corporate tax rate down to 15%. Plus, they want to give tax breaks to their multi-billionaire buddies to make them more rich. They want to make sure that now, I don't know if people remember, but there was a time in our lives when we heard the first billionaire and it absolutely blew our minds. We're like, billionaire? Hell, I'm old enough to hear about the first millionaires. When you heard about a millionaire, you were like, that's somebody that is set for life, and so is their family, and so is their kids. Then you get to billionaires. Now we are going to all be alive where we hear about the first trillionaires in this country. And here's what's sad about this. And I've brought this up numerous times. The saddest part about this is that me and the people who vote against their own interests, aka the Trump supporters, we're all in the same boat. I'm thinking about you. I'm caring about you. I want to make sure that what is happening to me doesn't happen to you, and what happens to you doesn't happen to me. But you guys don't want to see this. You have fallen into this spell, into this trap of two guys now, Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And there's this very strange, weird thing that goes on with some people in this country, with too many people in this country. They equate ultra wealthy people with intelligence. And you're looking at two of the guys that you worship that are not that bright. First of all, Donald Trump's about as stupid as they come. He's one of the dumbest human beings really in this country. I would put he is in the bottom 20% of intelligent people in this country. But people equate him because they think he's got a lot of money, which now he does, because he scammed a lot of people with his crypto coin. He made millions of dollars while he was president the last time, basically by setting up Social Security at Mar-a-Lago, making them pay while the taxpayers were paying for that. He made millions of dollars from foreign entities while he was president. And, you know, I hear people all the time, he didn't take a salary. Yeah, okay, he didn't take his $400,000 salary, but he made it up in many different ways. So, so they're equating this wealth with intelligence. And Donald Trump is really one of the worst businessmen and one of the dumbest people I've ever heard. Elon Musk is smart in the way of where a doctor is smart. So I've dealt with many doctors because I've been in sales for years and years and years. And doctors are very, very smart in their field. But outside of their field, they're not very smart. And I don't say that to demean them. The reason why I say that is because doctors have to spend all of their lives, all of their minutes, all of their days learning what they need to do to save lives. Outside of that, they don't know a lot of stuff because they don't get out much. They don't do as much, you know, in regular life like we all get to do. So there's a lot of things that they do not know about. And I've dealt with this. I mean, personally, being in sales where I've talked to them and I was actually shocked at first how little that they knew, but it did dawn on me why they didn't. So again, I don't say that to demean them, but here's some of the danger that we're running into in this country. Carolyn Levitt, who is the press secretary, a 27-year-old woman who was a Fox News contributor and a Fox News person, now is the person that is leading the press corps. Well, she was in front of the press corps today, and she was basically telling them, this is how the press is going to work. This is what we are going to do from now on. So let's listen to the clip and then talk about it once that is over.
Forward, the White House press pool will be determined by the White House press team. Legacy outlets who have participated in the press pool for decades will still be allowed to join, fear not, but we will also be offering the privilege to well-deserving outlets who have never been allowed to share in this awesome responsibility. Just like we added a new media seat in this briefing room, Legacy...
Well, I don't know why it stopped, but you get the point. Is basically she was saying we are going to determine who is in our press briefings and who is not in our press briefings. She threw in the legacy media. She wanted to make sure that they were going to be fine. But as we know, we've already read it. We've read Project 2025. We knew about Project 2025. We knew what they wanted to do, and they are stepping on the gas full throttle. They are not holding back, and they are moving as quickly as possible. And that is strategy. They don't want to do a drip campaign here. They want to do it so quick. Can everybody still see me? I don't know if anybody is here, but damn, now everybody's gone. Well, I got to say, this has never happened before. So in the meantime, I'm going to see if anybody jumps back in here. I am going to see some of these comments because I do a lot of lives. Okay, we got some people back in here. Hey, guys, thank you for rejoining. For some reason, my power went out for 1 second. It killed my Wi-Fi. It destroyed all my clips. But we're going to get back on and we're going to press on best we can. Thank you guys for rejoining. But so where I was, Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary, who, and by the way, she's like 27 years old. She's married to some 60-year-old billionaire. You talk about, and quite frankly, I don't really care. I don't care who you marry. I don't care who you love. Do whatever it is that you want. But this also comes from the side about family values and indoctrination and, all this stuff. So I don't know, for them, you would think that if this were a Democrat, they probably would be all over it, but whatever, who gives a shit? But anyway, let's get back to some of the clips. Carolyn Levitt today, it's funny, we talk about Doge and Elon Musk. President Elon Musk loves to talk about transparency and how Doge is transparent, but it also came out last week that apparently Elon Musk is not running Doge, which surprised a lot of people. So one of the reporters asked Carolyn Levitt today, well, if Elon Musk is not running Doge, exactly who is? And this was her response. Sorry, I got to restore this. Okay. Give me 1 second. This really sucks, guys. I mean, I will tell you, this has really literally never happened before. So now I kind of got to go back and restore some of these clips because it kind of kicked me out. So anybody sticking in with me, I appreciate it. Anybody saying, fuck this, I am out, I absolutely 100% do not, I don't blame you. So, but I do need to restore these clips so we can get back to the show. And we have some good clips too. So hang in there with me. And I was saying, I'm on TikTok Live right now. If you're on TikTok Live and you're a Trump supporter and you are laughing your ass off about this, I certainly don't blame you. I mean, I'd be laughing my ass off at me too. But you know what? What can you do? Because I can also tell you, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be like, I did a show last night. Some shit happened, but life is going to go on. And that's what, who gives a shit? So we're going to, okay. So we're going to go back. I think I got it now. And we're going to go back to the downloads. Here is what Carolyn Levitt said about Doge. No, God damn it. Hold on. Oh. All right, this time I got it. I promise. Go.
That they didn't know who the Doge administrator was and was asking the lawyer for the administration who it was, and the lawyer responded, I don't know the answer to that. Can you tell us who the administrator of Doge is?
Again, I've been asked and answered this question. Elon Musk is overseeing Doge. No, Elon Musk is a special government employee, which I've also been asked and have answered that question as well. There are career officials at Doge. There are political appointees at Doge. I'm not going to reveal the name of that individual from this podium. I'm happy to follow up and provide that to you. But we've been incredibly transparent about the way that Doge is working.
I love that she says we have been incredibly transparent about the way Doge is working, and then proceeds, or right before that, basically says, we're not going to tell you who is running Doge. I mean, to me, that lacks a lot of the transparency that they are bragging about. And this is the kind of stuff that we're going to be having to deal with for quite some time. And this is concerning stuff. This is stuff that should worry every single American, and especially you Trump people who keep trying to tell everybody that you care about the Constitution, you care about the debt and the deficit. They are going to blow up the debt and the deficit. They are blowing up the Constitution by basically already putting in executive orders that ignore the Constitution. One thing in particular, like the birthright citizenship, they are doing everything they can to destroy American democracy. And unfortunately, we have a sector of this country who thinks that's cool, but they don't understand at some point this is going to come back to bite them and haunt them. But this is another clip where Carolyn Levitt is very, very upset about the way the new deputy secretary of the FBI, who Kash Patel hired. And by the way, this is just incredibly insane because I make fun of this guy all the time. This guy, Dan Bongino, who is absolutely out of his mind crazy. But this guy is now going to be Kash Patel's second-hand man. And Carolyn Levitt does not like the way he's being portrayed by some news outlets.
I think it's quite despicable to see many networks in this room who have had chyrons on their television screens labeling Mr. Bongino as a far-right podcaster. He is not. He is a former law enforcement agent. He is a former Secret Service agent who put his life on the line to protect this country, and that is why the President of the United States has entrusted him for this important role. He's also
she's upset about how the way the media portrays somebody and puts on chyrons. But if you go through the history of Fox News and look at the chyrons of the people that they don't like, it is outrageously insane. So for them to do that and for her to say that is absolutely batshit crazy. And this, unfortunately, is where we are in this country now. And this is where we're going to be for quite some time. And the thing about it is that they're already walking shoulders up and saying to everybody out there, we are laughing at you. We are going to roll over you and you can't do anything about it. And for the most part, they might be right. And that is a scary, scary thing, because we listen to somebody like Dan Bongino, who's got a podcast, and the main thing that he loves, what he loves more than anything, is he loves power. And he all but admitted that on his podcast. So this is the guy who's going to be Kash Patel's second-hand man. These are his comments about power.
The only thing that matters is what? Chat. What matters? Anyone? Power. Power.
Just first of all, look at this fucking guy. You're going to sit there and tell me if your daughter brought this guy home, you instantly should say, this has Netflix special written all over it. Get rid of this fucking nut. He is out of his mind crazy.
You can see what I'm out. Power. That is all that matters. No, it doesn't, Dan. We have a system of checks and balances. That's a good one. That's really funny. We do.
Yep.
After the election, we may get the House back by 5-10 votes. Then we can pick a different speaker. He says, but this is not the time. Yes, sir. It is not the time.
Yeah. So he's talking about power, and he points and he laughs in your face, Americans. He is laughing in your face about checks and balances. These are the people, too, that always preach the founding fathers. And the founding fathers, this is what they wanted for our country. They wanted checks and balances. They wanted to go by the law of the Constitution. And these people want to do none of that. Like literally none of it. And not only do they not want to do it, they're brazen about it, and they're pointing at you and they're laughing in your fucking face. And they're going to do it to your detriment. I know there's part of you that listens to Dan Bongino and you're like, yes, Dan, troll those liberals. This is the greatest thing that has ever happened in my life. If I could wake up every day and just immerse myself every day where liberals are being trolled and people who are smarter than I am can go out there and do it, this makes my entire world. I don't care that my kid went 4 for 4 in his baseball game today. That means nothing to me. My kid scored 20 points in basketball. Who gives a shit? He made straight A's. I don't care. Dan Bongino and the rest of the gang, they know how to troll liberals better than anybody. Wait, what's that? I don't have a job anymore? Or what's that? My Social Security is being cut. Wait, my Medicaid is, but wait a minute, that shouldn't happen because we're trolling liberals. That's what drives me nuts, is all this stuff is going to affect you. And this is more important to you. Dan Bongino laughing at the liberals, laughing at the people that they have no power anymore, and that we're just going to run right through it. And who gives a shit about checks and balances? We're going to do whatever it is the fuck we want. Now, he did mention talking about winning the House by 5 to 10 seats. If things continue to go the way they're going, it's going to be very difficult for them to win the House. In fact, just right now, and this means nothing, and I will say this with a caveat, this means nothing, but as of right now, when they look at potential polling and who could win the House in 2026, the Democrats are already up 5 points, and this is 2026. And most Americans haven't even been hit with the bulk of things they're going to be hit with. I feel like I'm going to be hit with it. What do you mean? What about me? I'm in the mortgage industry. The mortgage industry is going to be a nightmare for the rest of this year, because rates are not going down. That's just not happening. Now, I'm going to do the best I can with the rates not going down, because I've had to deal with the rates being where they've been for the last year and a half or so. So I've got to do the best that I can. But I also live in the state of Florida, and Florida right now is a disaster. I know there's a lot of you out there who are Trump supporters who think they all left California and New York to move to Florida and Texas. Well, guess what? Florida and Texas right now currently are responsible for 30% of all homes for sale in this country. Why are they for sale? Because people are moving out. Because they were promised this utopia. They were promised that Florida and Texas are paradises. They are unwoke paradises that you can come here and nothing's going to be woke. Nothing's going to be liberal. You could do whatever you want in the state. If you want to say whatever it is you want to say, you could say it here. You're free in this state, unlike California and New York, who basically fund most of the country. But you come to Florida and Texas, everything's going to be great. Well, guess what? They came to Florida, and Ron DeSantis is as anti-woke as you get. Ron DeSantis says, guess what, guys? I don't believe in climate change. Fuck climate change. You want to give me free federal money to help combat climate change? No, thank you. You can keep your money. I'm not taking it. Well, that's really cool for him, and it's really cool for the Republicans. You know who it's not cool with? It's not cool with the insurance companies. The insurance companies said, I don't know. I don't know if we necessarily think that that's a good idea. So because you think it's funny to troll the liberals, we're going to pack up and we're going to get out of the state of Florida. So we have insurance companies leaving the state in droves. Meanwhile, taxes are going up. Insurance is going up, and it's nearly impossible to afford your home here in Florida. But again, this is what Republicans do. They dangle this nonsense and these lies at you to sucker you into getting them to do what they want you to do. And then when you're stuck, they go, fuck, what are you going to do? Pick yourself up by your bootstraps, figure it out. That's what they do. This is what they've been doing for decades. And why you can't figure this out yet is insane to me. It's insane. I don't understand how you're not figuring this out. But we talk about this country being in trouble, and this country is in trouble. And it's going to be in trouble regardless. But people are fighting back. But last night, or Sunday night on 60 Minutes, someone was asked by Scott Pelley. I wish I would have got the name. I didn't get the name. I do apologize. But he asked, when is America, at what point are they going to be in trouble? And this was his response.
Is the tripwire, in your view, that would signal that the country is in serious trouble?
Well, I think we're already there.
Already there. We're there right now. And anybody that has their eyes open in any respect would know that we are in trouble right now. It is serious business time. And, I will tell you, so I followed politics for a very long time. And during that time, outside, because I don't watch cable news. I refuse to watch cable news, but I would watch. I loved Jon Stewart. I loved people like Jon Stewart and John Oliver who could do it in a manner that is funny, but very intelligent, very smart, and gets the point across. One small problem I'm having now, though, with some of the people who are the best at relaying these messages is right now, for me, a lot of shit is not even funny. And I still watch Jon Stewart and I'll listen to his monologue. And there is a part of me now that just when I hear him giggle about something, I'm like, okay, this was maybe during the Bush time, maybe the Obama time, maybe even during the first Trump administration. But now things are just not funny. Things are extremely serious. And I don't want to, I know people think it's hyperbolic, and I'm not trying to be somebody that is scaring people and doing the sky is falling, but it's close. I mean, we're in a very scary time now. And if people do not start understanding in this country what's happening, it's going to get away from us because they are moving at warp speed with this. They are moving and they are not going to back down. They're going to continue to move, and they're going to move so fast. And part of the strategy is to keep continuing to throw shit at the wall where you're confused, you don't know what's going on, and that's the plan. And it is working, and people need to start opening up their eyes. But I'm starting to see people opening up their eyes. But this is one other thing before I show the clip of people opening up their eyes. To me, again, this is the kind of stuff that if you are not concerned about this as an American, then you are not paying attention. This is the guy that you think you elected president, Donald Trump, talking when he was asked, when he calls Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, a dictator, he was asked the same question about Vladimir Putin, and this was his response.
I will tell you that that wasn't exactly what we agreed to.
Mr. President, to call Zelensky a dictator, would you use the same words regarding Putin?
I don't use those words lightly. I think that we're going to see how it all works out. Let's see what happens. I think we have a chance of a really good settlement between various countries. And, you're talking about Europe, and you're talking about Ukraine as part of that whole situation. The other side has a lot of support also. So let's see how it all works out.
That's incredibly insane. I'm 53 years old. And there's never been a time in my life where I said, yeah, Russia is our friend and we should team up with Russia and we should defend them over a country that was attacked for no reason whatsoever. And now, not only are you calling the other president a dictator, you're defending Vladimir Putin. You're not calling him a dictator, which he is the definition of dictator. He is the dictator of all dictators, and you're afraid to call him a dictator. And these are the people who have tried to convince me and other people out there like me that Vladimir Putin or that Donald Trump is tough on Putin. He stands up to him. The only reason why Vladimir Putin attacked Ukraine is because Joe Biden was in office, and he's not afraid of Joe Biden. If Donald Trump were in office, he'd be afraid of Donald Trump. Well, it's quite clear that he's not afraid of Donald Trump. Donald Trump, his very first term, told everybody, told the world, do you believe Vladimir Putin over your own intelligence agencies? And he goes, yeah, I have no reason not to believe him. He told me that he had nothing to do with interfering in the 2016 election. First of all, Donald Trump's sad, pathetic ego would never be able to admit that, because then that's sort of a stain on how he won. But also to defend Vladimir Putin in front of everybody, to me, is absolutely disgusting and unacceptable. And for any American that finds that acceptable, then you have never paid attention to politics in this country. All you do is you pay attention to the people who know you're going to listen to and regurgitate everything that they say. And I'm telling you, this is all this stuff adding up. This is just not good, and it's not going to be good. But as I said, here is sort of the silver lining is we have people who right now, just a month into Elon Musk's presidency and Donald Trump sitting in the background watching it happen, is there are people who are already getting pissed off. And there was a montage put together of people in town halls in Republican districts that right now are showing their concern and their anger towards what is going on.
My concern right now, and I think I speak for a lot of Americans, is Elon Musk.
Yes. How can we be represented by you if you don't have a voice in Congress?
I'm a registered Republican voter and retired active Army officer. How can you tell me that Doge, with some college whiz kids from a computer terminal in Washington, D.C., without even getting out into the field, after about a week or maybe two, has determined that it's okay to cut veterans' benefits?
When are you going to wrest control as the Congress back from the executive and stop hurting your constituents?
Are you willing to use your subpoena power to say, Musk, come in here, stand in front of Congress, and answer some hard questions?
When will you stand up to them and say that is enough?
And by the way, if you think that these are people who, if you think these are people that are just Democrats or whatever, there are plenty of clips. And you know what? If you don't want to believe me and you want me to prove it to you, then certainly send me an email and say, hey, send me the clips of where these are actually done in Republican districts. And I have no problem sending those to you. Because I know a lot of you out there who argue with somebody like me, you don't like doing research because you just like believing what you want to believe rather than being told the actual truth. And to me, that's a very strange way of going about life. Like, why would you possibly want to be lied to? What is it inside of you that satisfies whatever it is that is satisfying you? And I've been over this a million times. It's sort of psychology 101. When you're going against your own interest, there's a bigger thing at play here. And that bigger play is, unfortunately, I've said this is one of two things. Either you're not very politically bright, or there's something about you where the racism and the misogyny and the xenophobia and the homophobia and all that stuff that comes together, that to you is more important than what is actually happening in this country. That to you is more important than your own self-interest. And even if it's not your own self-interest, it's somebody close to you, somebody very close to you where it's their self-interest. And you're allowing this to happen. You allow it because you just think it's hilarious that liberals are being trolled. This is the dumbest timeline I've ever lived in my entire life. I don't care about trolling Republicans or trolling MAGAs. Will I respond to when MAGAs troll me? You are goddamn right I will. But like my life's whole being, I don't wake up every day and go, I can't wait to troll MAGAs. I've seen Donald Trump supporters. I've seen Elon Musk supporters, and their whole life revolves around these two. I am a Democrat, but I've said this a million times. I don't need one particular person to win. I need the ideas to win. I need whatever it is that they are presenting for the country that is going to help me, that's going to help everybody else. I know I only can't be helped. So I'm willing to concede some things that will help everybody, even if it doesn't help me. I am fine with that. And I'm not even saying I agree that there are things in the government that can be cut. There are things that we can save 100%. You think I want the guy who is the richest person in the world, who wasn't even born here, who is receiving billions of dollars of subsidies to his companies, and those very companies are being investigated by the some of the administrations that he is cutting, that he's getting rid of. In what way does that make sense? In what way is that not corrupt? You guys keep talking about corruption. That's the most fucking corrupt thing I've ever heard in my life. A guy who wasn't born here, who's receiving billions of dollars of subsidies to his country. And quite frankly, I've asked this question once before. Somebody's got to explain this to me. One of his companies is Tesla, and Tesla makes electric cars. Electric cars, we gave subsidies to these electric cars because we believe in climate change, and we believe his electric cars are helping combat climate change. That's the reason why our government was giving him billions of dollars of subsidies. Now he works for a government who calls climate change a hoax. And they also say that they don't believe it. We're pulling out of the Paris Agreement. We're doing all that stuff. So if that is the case, then somebody explain to me that why are we not cutting out the subsidies to the electric car companies, including Tesla, that the government says that they call it a hoax? Elon Musk, who is heading this department on well, he's not heading it now. There's some secret guy, as we learned earlier, who's heading it. Hopefully the secret guy goes, well, sorry, Elon, we're cutting these subsidies. My guess is that's not going to happen because Elon Musk still 100% is running this, but they're trying to tell us that it's not. But somebody explain to me, why are we not cutting the billions of dollars of subsidies? And quite frankly, I don't give a flying fuck about going to Mars. We can cut the subsidies to SpaceX as well. So that to me is wasted money. Why are we not cutting this? I am all for the subsidies for electric cars, but the person who's in charge of it works for the government that says it's not and says he's in charge of cutting subsidies. Sorry, that shit's got to go. That's how it works. So, but one other person, we talk about fighting back, and these are the things that we need to see more of. We need to see the fight back. And there's one thing too, is that when you have a government like we have now that thinks are just going to roll over everybody, you need tough, strong people to go, no, this isn't going to be as easy as you think. Janet Mills, who is the governor of Maine, apparently Donald Trump had a meeting with all these governors, and he called her out specifically and thought he was going to intimidate her. And he found out the hard way that that's not how this is going to work.
Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
We are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
See, and this is the tyrannical government that they want to have, that, you don't agree with me, then we're going to do everything we can to make sure that you never work in this job ever again. But she was somebody who said, listen, dude, I know you think you're some kind of tough guy, and I know the people around you, you think that they make you feel tough, but all the people around you are pussies. And I am not. And if you think you're going to call me out in front of everybody and you think I'm going to cower down like everybody else is, you're out of your fucking mind. And I'm going to show you right now that that is not going to happen. So I appreciate her efforts. And this is the kind of shit that we're going to need more and more of. Now, when I say more and more of, but before I do that, Angel, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you joining me. And I also saw some people on Instagram. Did I see Beth? I think I saw Beth on Instagram. Hey, Beth, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you joining. Baja, as always, I love when Baja joins. Tony Walker. Hey, how are you? And Jessica, thank you for joining too. Looks like Steven is in here. Is that Tony G? Tony G, are you watching me right now? Uh-oh. That might not be good. Tony G doesn't agree with a lot of what I have to say, but that's okay. But Angel, happy Tuesday to you. And she has a special question, which is not about Elon. What is your question, Angel? And I'm happy to address that. But while you're typing in your question, I'm talking about fighters. There's one fighter. I've already told you. I've already professed my love for this woman. And I'm in love with her. There's absolutely no question. I am in love with Jasmine Crockett. And she was asked today, very simple question about Elon Musk. And if you've seen this clip, then you have the pleasure of being able to watch it again. If you have not seen the clip, it is definitely worth it. It's only a few seconds long, but this is the kind of fucking attitude that I want to see from every Democrat moving forward. Joking time is over. Being nice is over. Playing by the rules is over, because they're clearly not playing by the rules. They don't give a fuck about the rules. In fact, they're taking the rules, they are pissing on them, and they're going to rewrite their own rules. Jasmine Crockett, if it's up to her, because it appears as if Jasmine Crockett's basically taken this on her own shoulders, and she is basically saying, okay, you guys can sit there and try to map this out all you want to. I'm going to take this on my own. Here's Jasmine Crockett when she's asked about Elon Musk.
You could speak directly to Elon Musk. What would you say?
Fuck off.
That's it. That is exactly, literally, the only answer that President Elon Musk deserves. Fuck off. We're not going to be intimidated by you. You're not going to sit there and you're not going to dictate what's going to happen to the Americans in this country. Fucking guy wasn't even born here. And you're going to tell me he's in charge of what's happening to this country? That's insane. And Donald Trump is happy to let him do it. I am stunned. There was a part of me saying, Donald Trump's never going to let this happen. I mean, at some point, the ego is going to get to him. But as I started to think about it more, and I heard other opinions on this, I kind of tend to agree. Now, I have no proof of this, and I'm not trying to tell everybody that this is 100% factual, and there may be no truth to it whatsoever. And I'm okay with using those caveats where the right will just go ahead and say it, not even care if it's true or not true. They'll just go ahead and say it and let people think whatever the fuck they want. But there's reason to believe that Elon Musk may be behind putting in the multi-millions of dollars in the scam crypto coin that Donald Trump started for him and his dumb wife. And now, because of those millions of dollars that are in this stupid coin, Donald Trump has made billions of dollars off it, and so is Melania. And Elon has Trump by the balls. First of all, we already know how much money he spent in this last election to get him elected. $250 million of his own money, which again is absurd that we allowed that kind of money in any of our elections, especially from somebody who wasn't even fucking born here. That's insane to me. $250 million was spent in this last election by one person. Don't even fucking bring up George Soros to me. George Soros didn't come anywhere close to spending $250 million on an election. And quite frankly, go ahead and bring up George Soros to me. I'm happy that you do it. Because if George Soros, let's say Kamala Harris won, and Kamala Harris put George Soros in charge of where we spend our money, you guys would lose your fucking minds. So this is where the hypocrisy comes in. I don't want to hear it, but here's the difference. Kamala Harris would never put George Soros in charge of where we put our money or how we spend our money in this country. It would be a bipartisan committee, just like Bill Clinton did. When people want to bring up Bill Clinton got rid of 300,000 federal employees, why is it any different? It's different because they did it over years. And they also put together a committee to put in front of Bill Clinton and say, this is what we came up with. This is how we think we should do it. And not only did Bill Clinton go, okay, but he said, okay, now let's put it in front of Congress, let them vote on it and see what they say. Congress voted on it overwhelmingly. 17 House members said no out of 435 House members. One senator said no out of the 50 senators. And that's how you do it. You do it through Congress, checks and balances, the same checks and balances that Dan Bongino was just laughing at you about, saying checks and balances. Get the fuck out of here with checks and balances. And this is the kind of country that you think it's okay to live in. So if you want to set that up and somehow Democrats win the next time and you put somebody fucking crazy in there who says, all right, this is the way you guys want to do it, fine, this is the way we'll fucking do it. I don't want that, by the way, as a Democrat. I would never want a Democrat to come in and say, this is how we run shit now. Fuck the Constitution. Fuck checks and balances. Because I don't have fealty towards one person. I don't even have fealty towards a party. Because if a party started doing that, I'd be like, I'm out. And that's why you see a lot of Republicans, real Republicans, say, I'm out. I don't deal with this nonsense. This is nonsense. This is not what the Constitution is. This is not what the founding fathers had in mind. And this is not America. This is, first of all, an oligarchy, and it is being run by somebody who literally just called himself a king. People have no idea what's about to happen in this country if they don't wake the fuck up, because it is coming. And it's going to come in a manner that even the people who vote for Donald Trump at some point are going to have to go, I held on as long as I could. I mean, I praised this guy. I laughed so much when he trolled the libs. It was so great. But fuck, I can't pay my bills anymore. Or my mom and dad have to move in with me because their Social Security has been cut so low that they can't afford anything anymore. Their medical bills are so high and so heavy, or my medical bills are so high and so heavy that I can't pay my bills anymore. My parents can't pay my bills anymore. There are going to be so many ways that Americans are going to be affected. And they are doing this because they want to make rich people richer. There's not one study about trickle-down economics, not one that has come out and said that it has worked for the American people. And especially now, you're out of your mind if you think trickle-down economics, you think that Elon Musk is going to cut government waste up the debt ceiling to $4.5 trillion, which, by the way, is going to put a monster debt over $3 trillion into our deficit. How is it not? If you're raising the debt ceiling and you're not even saving the amount that you're raising the debt ceiling, how does it not increase the deficit? And increasing the deficit is going to lead to inflation. Our inflation is going up, folks. So is unemployment. Unemployment's getting ready to go up. Consumer confidence is down. Inflation's going up. All this stuff. Where we are headed economically is not going to be good. It's just not. Interest rates are going nowhere. In fact, they might even go up a little bit more. They're starting to trend down a little bit right now. But once we start, the tariffs really start kicking in, and the aluminum tariffs, the steel tariffs that have been put in, the auto industry is going to be hurting. This state of Florida is already hurting. Number one inflation in the country. Insurance rates through the roof. You think they're going down under this administration? There's no fucking way. No chance. But all so you control liberals. I mean, that's one hell of a take, man. That is just one hell of a way to live life, because you're happy now that the 0.0000007137% of boys playing in trans sports can't happen anymore. Come on, man. It's not even really happening. But this is what you're excited about. You're excited that the phony and false narrative that immigrants are coming to this country and murdering and raping people left and right. You know what's funny? Every single person that I know, because I know personally, and pretty much everybody I know, knows somebody that was affected by the last pandemic that are no longer alive. Everybody. That was rampant. That actually happened. We all know somebody. Do we all know somebody that was raped and murdered by an immigrant? Nobody you know does. I don't. Nobody you know does. Literally nobody. But these are the things we're making into such a grand and big deal that you're voting on that. You also voted on the economy. You voted that Donald Trump was going to take care of egg prices, gas prices, interest rates, and food prices. Name one piece of legislation that they've even thought about passing to help that, which, by the way, you really can't pass legislation. They suckered you and fooled you into thinking that they can lower gas prices with a magic wand and interest rates. Well, he had interest rates low when he was president last time. When was that? Late 2020? What was going on in late 2020? There was a pandemic that was killing people and family members of people who voted for Donald Trump. That's why he didn't win the next election, because he handled it so horribly. But interest rates were low, but that wasn't because of Donald Trump. It was because of the pandemic. If interest rates ever get that low again, it's never going to be because of a president. It's going to be because really bad things are happening in this country. And it is stunning to me that people are more excited about getting angry about stuff that doesn't even exist. But you've been suckered into believing that Donald Trump is going to help fucking milk prices. Name one piece of legislation. Name one thing that they've even talked about lowering gas prices, interest rates, food prices. Name anything. Name any time that they've talked about it. But you know what they have done? They renamed the Gulf of fucking Mexico. You're excited about this? This is something that really actually excites you, that they renamed the Gulf of Mexico, in which, by the way, doesn't even exist either. The United States of America doesn't own the Gulf of Mexico. They're not allowed to rename it. You fucking idiots. What makes you think that they're allowed to rename the Gulf of Mexico? International bodies have to get together in order to rename that. But no, doesn't matter. We trolled libs on this one. I don't even know how you trolled libs on that one, quite frankly. I don't give a fuck what you call the Gulf of Mexico. What? You think you're trolling me and people like me because they renamed the Gulf of Mexico? Okay. Great, you got us. Awesome. Anyway, let's get back to my girlfriend, Jasmine Crockett. I can't believe I went on that long because she's the superstar, not me. She's unbelievably good. And this was her on The View the other day. And she was basically straightening out somebody that said something stupid. I don't know exactly what it was, but it doesn't matter, because when Jasmine Crockett speaks, this guy's fucking listening.
Do better at education. People don't understand, but you will understand when those hospitals in rural America start closing down even more. You will understand when you don't have your Social Security. You will understand when your Medicaid, your Medicare goes away. You will understand as planes continue to fall out of the sky. Soon you will understand why it's important to maybe have somebody that isn't loud and ridiculous, and maybe Sleepy Joe is what we wanted because we could at least sleep at night.
100%. 100%. First of all, Joe Biden's one of the best presidents we've ever had. You give a fuck. You can sit here and try to argue with me of that all day, and I'll go toe-to-toe with you on that one. And you're going to find out that presidential historians at some point, I think they already have him at like number 14. But as time goes on, they're going to continue to move him up that list. And he certainly got a raw deal, but that's for another show. But that is Jasmine Crockett, who has basically right now taken on the attitude of the Democratic Party. And this is the exact attitude that I fucking love. This is the exact attitude that I want to see from now on from the Democratic Party. And if you don't have that attitude, it's okay to admit it and step right the fuck aside and get out of there. Hakeem Jeffries seemed like a great guy. You don't have that attitude. You're not strong enough to be in that position. I hope you become that person, because I always thought you were great. And I always thought that you had that strength. But right now, you're not meeting the moment. Jasmine Crockett is meeting the moment. There are others out there that are doing it, but she is all over the place. AOC is meeting the moment too, by the way. And by the way, you just see, it's the women who tend to be stronger than the men on this thing. Janet Mills, we just brought up. AOC, Jasmine Crockett. Men, where are you? Grow the fucking balls. Come on. And I'm not saying there aren't Democratic men that are out there doing it. Who is the gentleman? Maxwell Frost here from the state of Florida. He's doing good. Jared Moskowitz, he'll have some balls. Eric Swalwell, he's good. And we need more of this attitude of people who are like, I'm not scared of you, Donald Trump, because Donald Trump's not a scary person. He's not smart enough to be scary. He's just so dumb. Like, you literally, he could say, you could, like, for a month, you could say bad shit about him for one straight month, and he'll say bad shit about you. All you have to do is walk in front of him one day and go, sir, I think you're actually great. And he'll completely change his mind about you. That's how stupid he is. And you know who else knows that? Vladimir Putin. But Vladimir Putin is, he's not a dictator, but Zelensky is. We're literally siding with Russia right now. Mind-blowing. Blows my fucking mind. I'll never understand that. Angel, you asked me, do I understand HR 22 SAVE Act? People on Blue Sky, for some reason, if you are a woman, your ID and birth certificate have to match. Yes, I did see that. If you're married, that's another tactic. Is voter suppression is a big tactic from the right. They want as little people as voting, or people voting that would vote for Democrats. Women, which, well, black women for sure. White women, that is one thing I will never understand. How the fuck are you a white woman and you are voting for Donald fucking Trump? I mean, that I will never understand. If you told me you were a Republican, like old school Republican, and you voted for it, okay, I still kind of don't understand it. But Donald Trump and this administration, you're voting for that? That's crazy, man. That's crazy. VIX today, 19.43 plus 45. Stocks down for the second day. Stock market's going down. Angel, HR 22, the SAVE Act, if you want to explain that a little bit better, we could talk about that. But last few things. This is very embarrassing to our country. This fucking Elon Musk, who is basically running this show. He was at this CPAC the other day. I guess it's run by Charlie Kirk. And these are where a bunch of these nutty Republicans get together and spew some of the most vile and ridiculous shit that you could possibly listen to. But he was up on the stage the other day and seemed high, had no idea where he was at. And it was certainly very embarrassing, especially since he is apparently one of the most prominent, if not the most prominent person in our government. But this is him just sounding very incoherent, like Elon Musk can.
If you got to protect the First Amendment, it's not much more.
I forgot about the stupid sunglasses too.
More important than that.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of criticism, and people said, well, that proves he's a huge idiot from he voted for whatever, $44 billion, and now it's worth like 8 cents. And
it's not worth 8 cents.
It was essentially to by freedom of expression.
Yikes. This guy sounded more and more like fucking Donald Trump every day. Maybe they're hanging out a little bit too much. But this is also him talking about how we need to bring comedy back. There's this sector of dudes out there who keep talking about bringing comedy back. And the ones who are talking about that really are not funny at all. These are these right-wing comedians who are not funny. And because they're not funny, they are blaming woke society on it. They're blaming everybody else except for the fact that they're just not that funny. So they want to be able to use words that punch down on other people. And because there is a society now says, yeah, I don't know, maybe there was a time in our country's history where we did laugh at that, but we kind of grew up and we progressed towards laughing at that. Now, I am somebody that's very hard to offend, and everything for me, any subject can be funny, but it's got to be done brilliantly and smart. Like these right-wing comedians, they're not brilliant and smart. They're just, I punch down on you and I just say the words that I know very uneducated people will laugh at. But if you watch comedies like South Park will say the N-word. They'll say the F-word for gay people. They'll say all this stuff. But in the context of which they do it, fucking brilliant. Literally brilliant. And it is hilarious. And whether you're gay or you're black, they would watch it and find it hilarious because they understand the context of it. Do you remember the Chris Rock special that he did? He was talking about the difference between black people and the N-word. And the funny part about that whole skit was there were a lot of people, white people, who were celebrating that, not understanding what Chris Rock was actually talking about. What he was talking about is that there's too many people in society that lump in a bad sector of people, forget about being black, just dummies and assholes, as all being the same because they have the same color. That's basically what he was getting at. But these right-wing comedians just aren't funny. They're just dumb and they're stupid and they're lame. But this is Elon talking about bringing comedy back. And obviously, at least in my estimation, is he is talking about these lame right-wing comedians.
You know, and have like a sense of humor, you know? So, I mean, the sort of the left wanted to make comedy illegal, you know? Like, you can't make fun of anything. So then it's like, comedy sucks. It's like, nothing's funny. You can't make fun of anything. It's like, legalize comedy. Yeah. Legalize comedy.
And we've shifted the
This
entire
dude
culture. And just
is so fucking cringy, by the way. It is just so cringy to listen and watch this dude. This guy's in control of the fucking country. And he's up on this stage, whacked out of his mind, very uncomfortably. And he's talking about the left was trying to make comedy illegal and that we need to bring comedy back. So I don't know if you're out there and you disagree with what I'm saying and you find if there's any of these right-wing comedians that you find funny, send them my way. I'll give them another shot. But there are some of them that I've listened to and it was just so painful. Like I felt bad for them because it was too painful to listen to. But this is how Elon Musk, our president, ended his time on the stage at CPAC. Oh my God. This is our country right now. This is our country. You ever seen the movie Idiocracy? I think there's literally a scene where the president of the United States is waving around a chainsaw in the movie Idiocracy. It's basically saying that our country is becoming stupid. And at some point in our future, this is how stupid our country is going to be. That movie, it's literally a documentary now. Idiocracy turned into a goofy comedy. And this was, I mean, the foresight of seeing how stupid our country was already becoming. They were saying this is really how bad it's going to get if we continue to let it get this way. And we are letting it get this way. This right here, this guy right here is leading our country. He's in sunglasses. He's high on whatever it is that he's high on, and he's waving around a chainsaw, talking about legalizing comedy again. I don't know, man. I don't know who else is comfortable with this. I certainly am not. But let's wrap up the show. I've got a couple of last few clips to play. And in these clips, I like to call these are people who vote. And there was one guy, if you ever heard of the Good Liars do great work. They're kind of like Jordan Klepper, who is from The Daily Show and goes and interviews these Trump supporters, whether it be at CPAC or Trump rallies, the convention, wherever it is. Well, the Good Liars were out there and they were talking to this guy who was had a little costume on and think it's hilarious. This is also the kind of this game that you play. I would also call this, if you saw this guy on the street, what you'd want to do to him, because he's a fucking little dickhead. But this is the Good Liars with this guy who just thinks this little costume of his is hilarious.
They work for ICE?
No, not at all. Nope.
Explain the outfit.
It's $29.99 on Amazon. I would recommend buying a small if you're my size. This one's a little too loose for my liking. But yeah, if you want some entertainment, wear this and go to a Home Depot in a sanctuary city like where I live right now, Washington, D.C., and you'll see all the illegals, not all of them, but you can maybe see a lot of them start to run away, and you feel like a group fitness instructor. It's really good.
And you actually think that's funny?
I think it's hilarious, absolutely. What's not funny is them illegally...
There you have it, everybody.
Yeah,
one
that's
of the worst
exactly
people
what
I've seen here at CPAC, and that's saying something. Appreciate it.
Yeah, one of the worst. I'm sorry, I cut that off, but at the end he said one of the worst people I've seen here at CPAC. And again, I truly want to ask people out there, who finds this funny? And I know there are a lot of people who do. And I know some people, they're laughing at me. They're like, oh my God, look at this libtard losing his mind because some guy dressed up in an ICE thing and said, let's go to Home Depot and freak people out. And the funny part is that these are the same people who will go to church on Sundays, or they'll talk to me about Jesus and religion and how great Jesus is. I will guarantee you, if that guy with the ICE costume on was one of these phony Christians, I guarantee you that if Jesus came down, stood right next to him at that very point, he would change his entire tune. And if he didn't, then he's not really a religious person. And quite frankly, a lot of those people who think that stuff is kind of funny, I don't want to hear about you and your religion because I don't believe you. I don't believe that you're an actual religious person who believes in the Bible and believes in Jesus. I personally don't believe in any of that stuff, but there are a lot of people that I've met in my life who do take it seriously and use that to become better people. And I can be behind that all day. But this fucking guy, this is the country that we're living in now. And this is the humor, I guess, that Elon Musk wanted to bring back. But we're bringing up Jesus, and sort of on the opposite side, as I was saying, these are the people who vote out there, folks. And this, just the first person you'll hear, but the second person kind of goes in line with what I was just talking about. So let's take a look at the interview and then we'll wrap up the show.
He's not going to get angry. He's got too much to fix. He's not a vengeful person.
I mean, you think about Jesus Christ himself. Everybody went against him because he was preaching love and doing what was right for the people. And Trump's doing what's right for this nation. And because he's doing that, everybody is against him.
These are people who vote. This guy just compared Donald Trump to Jesus Christ. And he's not a one-off. There are a lot of them out there that do this. And to me, this is really, really concerning. And it's really scary. Quite frankly, again, I've said before, I don't give a fuck who you vote for. Vote for whoever you want to. But when you vote for somebody, have the knowledge as to why you're voting for him. Understand what it is exactly that you're voting for. I've talked to many Trump supporters, and if you could change my mind and get me to understand exactly what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing for this country is so great, I'm all ears. But I've heard a lot of their arguments, and none of them have convinced me. Like literally none, because a lot of the times I ask them, wow, that's pretty interesting. Can you send me specific proof on what exactly that you're talking about? And guess how many times I've gotten that specific proof? Zero. Even when they do send me something, it has nothing to do with what they just told me. And I even pointed out to them, specific lines in the article or the video or whatever. I was like, what does that have to do with what you just told me? This has nothing to do with what you just told me. Or it's very, very vague about what they told me. And the sources are things that I've never heard of in my life. I can source everything. I can prove everything. Now, I know we're in a country now where we have been programmed, or at least some of us have been programmed, that if it's a source that daddy says is fake news, and that's pretty much every source now that is considered mainstream media or legacy media or whatever it is, you are not allowed to trust anything any of them say. And that's, again, strategic. They do this shit on purpose so they can get these followers to believe whatever the fuck it is that they say. So, my God, it's so exhausting. And tonight was a little exhausting because, I was thrown off. I got to be honest with you. My game was a little thrown off tonight because right in the middle of it, my show just went out for about 5 minutes because my power went off. So it cut off my Wi-Fi. And then my clips got screwed up. So I had to do my clips differently. So it threw me off a little bit, but I hope nobody didn't see it too much. But as always, I thank anybody for joining me tonight. Lana, of course, could not join me tonight, but she should be back with me next Tuesday. By the way, if you are watching right now, please subscribe, like the video that you're watching now. Please subscribe to the channel. Lana should be back with me next Tuesday. Please also find her show called The Quest Show and like and subscribe to her. Thank you, Angel. Thank you as always for joining me. I love you and I appreciate everything. Thank you for coming in as always. But yeah, please subscribe, like, and then go to her show, The Quest Show. She's usually on Thursday nights live at around 7 o'clock when she can. She's very busy, so sometimes she can't. Sometimes she can. Sometimes she can't. So please make sure you follow her and subscribe to the channel, like all that bullshit. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining me. Angel, thank you for joining me on Instagram. Jessica, thank you for joining me. Tony, thank you for joining me. Beth, of course, Steven, Baja, Tony, thank you guys all for joining me. I truly, truly appreciate it. And hopefully I see you guys again soon. Have a great night.